What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode on TUGGtv. First time on our channel, give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button along with the bell icon for more updates from us. We do all things music, all things metal. Okay, so part of one thing that we do on this channel a lot are covers. And in regard to that, we have received a lot of questions from you guys asking in terms of how we go about making this stuff and some sort of tips and tricks in order to create a nice clean cover. One thing I want to make clear is that this isn't the only way for you to go ahead and make a cover. There are multiple ways. It's just that this is a method that we guys use and we thought we'll share it with you. And we feel using these, tips and tricks, it doesn't take a lot of effort and a lot of knowledge for you to go ahead and start making nice clean covers of your favorite songs. Also, we're going to be using Reaper because that sort of is the preferred DAW that I use. And apart from that, a lot of questions that you guys asked was also focused in and around Reaper. Now, before we get into that, there are a couple of things that you are going to need in order to set up your bedroom studio. We have made a video in the past discussing these points, but just to sort of crash course it, number one, you're going to need a guitar. Obviously a computer, so I'm not going to get into all those little stupid things, but here's the important part. What you absolutely cannot do without is an audio interface. Now again, I made a video sometime back talking about cheap interfaces, which cost next to nothing. They have their pros and cons. You can consider those, or you would need to consider a decent audio face, the likes of, M Audio, Behringer, Focusrite for that matter. That's a must, without which we wouldn't be able to input the instrument into your computer. The next one apart from that is a DAW, or a digital audio workstation. This is where you're going to sort of have all the recordings going in, your signals going in. You're going to run things like VSTs, mix, master your track and all that stuff. As mentioned earlier, the DAW we're using here is Reaper. Having said that, there are a bunch of free ones that are also available in the market. I don't use them, but I'll list them down below so that you can sort of check them out. And finally, of course, you're going to need at least a pair of headphones or monitors. Studio monitors are definitely more expensive, but if you're someone who's just planning to practice, headphones should do fine. Any headphone will do for that matter, as long as you're able to connect it to your audio interface. What will differ is the quality of output that you're getting, and your mixes and all of that will be affected depending on what you choose over here. Now, the next thing when you're making covers, you would ideally do is you would take the song of your choice and put it into the digital audio workstation, and then you'd have a separate track which is going to run your instrument, and then you're sort of going to level the volume so that your instrument is up front, and that's how you would eventually go about it. But the thing with this is it's not exactly a very clean cover, because you're going to have the background, for example, if you're covering a guitar, in the background the song also has guitars, so it's not exactly clean. So in order to go ahead and create a nice sounding complete cover that you can go ahead and mix, one thing that we guys do is we take guitar profiles and then we go ahead and export them into Reaper. So what happens with this is you get the files in MIDI, all right, and you can take those files, load up your VSTs that you need, and finally, of course, you can load up the instrument of your choice. Or if you're doing vocals, you would have to set up a separate line for that, and you can make your covers. We'll get into that in a bit. All right, so as mentioned, the first step is to go ahead and download a Guitar Pro tab of the song of your choice. Plenty of places for you to go. You've got the likes of 911 Guitar or Ultimate Guitars, as you're seeing over here. And for example, I'm just choosing Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix, the one and only Jimi Hendrix. And you might want to ensure that you get all the instruments that you're looking for. So you can see that this has the drum track, it has the bass, and it also has the guitar parts. Once you've gone ahead and downloaded this, you would ideally open this up in any of your sort of softwares. So in my case, I've got Guitar Pro. And in an ideal world, this is what you can use to practice. What we're going to do is we're going to take the Guitar Pro file and export it into a MIDI format. So what you should be doing here is, if you're using Guitar Pro like me, you can go here and select Export to MIDI. And once you do that, you can save your file and your file gets saved as a MIDI. Once you've got that out of the way, the next important thing is obviously to import that MIDI file into your DAW, and this is what I use. Now this video is not going to be doing a complete tutorial on Reaper. If you're looking for a tutorial, firstly, we can't make that in one video. It's going to have to be very, very elaborate, and I have linked some videos in the description which you can go through, which are very, very informative. And if you're looking for a complete course on Reaper, they're really, really great. In fact, I learned a lot of my Reaper through those videos as well, so definitely consider going through them. But just to sort of crash course it, this is what the UI looks like. This is where you're going to have sort of the main master tab, control, of your volume, record, play, pause, and all that stuff. This is where you'll open your projects, undo, redo. This is a very important aspect of Reaper, which is the metronome. And if you right click on it, you can then choose the metronome aspects. Very, very handy, because if you want to create a nice clean cover, it always helps, for you to play with the metronome so that you stay exactly on timing. If not anything, it's a great platform for you to get practice on. Here you can also choose whether you want the metronome to give you a pre-count in before you play back or a pre-count in before you record. I'll show you a little bit on that, and then finally, of course, the type of beat patterns that you want based on your comfort. That's Reaper, and what we're going to do is we're going to import that MIDI track that I was talking about. So we go to Insert, Media File, and once we do that, you can go ahead and import the file wherever you saved it. All right, so I've selected an import. Couple of things you want to keep in mind when this happens. First is you should select expand for MIDI tracks into new Reaper tracks. And what that means is each of the MIDI files will have their own separate track. And it becomes easier for you to go ahead and volume it, level it. And obviously in this case, because they're different instruments, you're going to be loading different plugins. So that definitely helps. The next thing you want to select is to import the MIDI tempo map. Now this is a very crucial aspect, because what this will help you do is it will bring in the MIDI files along with the time signatures of that song. So, if you're someone who's trying to practice or learn it, having the exact time signatures, because sometimes the time signatures would change in different segments of the song, having that over here will make it incredibly easy for you to go ahead and make that cover. So we okay all of this. It'll ask you whether you want to ignore the project tempo. I always sort of adjust the media to the project tempo. Go ahead and say, all right, and here you have it. And as you can see on top, you have these time signatures. Now, of course, this being a Jimi Hendrix song, the time signature is constant. But here, for example, the beginning has a different sort of BPM and time signature and all that stuff. So this comes in over here. And as you can see, the 4 angles of the 4 instruments that we had in Guitar Pro, which was 2 of the guitars, 1 bass and 1 drum kit, is also now available to you in Reaper, and this is in a MIDI format. All right, guys, at this point in, it's headphones on, so we can actually hear what's happening. And once you've gone ahead and loaded up all the MIDI files, if you have to hit play, the first thing you'll notice is that nothing's happening. And the reason for that is because all these at the end of the day are just signals. And what that means is you've got the signals that you imported, from your Guitar profile, but you don't have an instrument to actually play it. So when it comes to the likes of MIDI instruments, there's a wide variety that you can choose from. When it comes to drums, I like using, Superior Drummer. There's also the likes of Addicted Drums and all of that. When it comes to bass, there's Easy Bass, wide variety of stuff when it comes to guitars, which we've reviewed on the channel. But if you are looking to start off and you want to sort of experiment with free stuff, when it comes to drums, one thing I would suggest is the MT Power Drum Kit 2. I think this is an excellent platform, completely free. It'll ask you for a bunch of things like donations and all of that, registration keys. Doesn't matter, just skip it. And you got yourself a nice drum kit. It's got some grooves which you can use in case you want to sort of custom create your own templates and program some drumming. That's a topic for another day. And apart from this, it's got a mixer in case you want to add in compression, or whether you want to level it out, you can go ahead and level, the drum kit the way you want. And now when I go ahead and play this, you will hear this. So that is for drums. Similarly for bass, if you're looking for something free, I've used this. It's called the Forefront Bass. Very simple, very rudimentary. There's no settings also in this. But for someone who's starting off, it's more than ample. So now that these two are loaded up, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but you go to FX, you select this, and then you would sort of go ahead and add your VST plugin in. And now you can hear 2 instruments. So with that, you can then go ahead and add yourself another track, and this is where your track would come in, where you can go ahead and track and record. I did mention to you the thing about the metronome, so this is a great aspect. If I go ahead and set in a count before playback, what happens is just before the song starts, it will give you a count in so you can cue yourself. So, I hit this. Alright, and with that, I come to the end of this video. Hope you like that little piece of Purple Haze. Been playing a lot of rock lately. Is there something you want me to cover? Let me know in the comments. What did you think about this method in terms of making, covers? Is it something that you do? Or is there something, you would like to see, or something that could be done better? Definitely let us know in the comments. We are not know-alls. We are always happy to learn something new. But having said that, this is a little hack as to how you can use Reaper to make nice clean covers, and we hope it comes handy to you. Alright, with that, this is TUGGtv signing off. I will catch you in the next one. Until next time, stay metal.